Hello and welcome to Business Talk, brought to you by the Sharonville Chamber of Commerce. I'm Brent Scarce with Emory Federal Credit Union. I'm your host, and today here in studio we have Kelley Marshall, President and CEO of the Southwest Ohio Region Workforce Investment Board, here to talk to us about what she does.
Workforce development.
Yeah, workforce development. Welcome, Sherry.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting us.
Well, so what is the Southwest Ohio Region Workforce Investment Board?
We call it SWORWIB, so you could use that as the acronym
SWORWIB.
going forward. SWORWIB.
Okay.
SWORWIB was founded in 2001 with a change in federal law about workforce activity that federal dollars would be invested in. And we are the board of 52 individuals, 65% of which are business representatives, and then pretty much every other federal or state agency that serves veterans, returning citizens, in-school youth, out-of-school youth, people with disabilities, disabled veterans. There are a variety of what are called titles under federal law that provide funds to serve particular populations. And we're where it all gets talked about, and linkages are made for individuals, and we oversee the Ohio Means Jobs One-Stop Center, which is part of what the federal government decided back in 1998, that there needed to be a place that was for employment and less of a place for unemployment.
Okay.
So unemployment services have pretty much, we still have them in the center, but they're largely online now to be sure that when people are unintentionally let go of their jobs, not from anything that they did, but because of change in business or change in the company, relocation of the company. It was the intention of, let's not just focus on helping people when they lose their jobs. Let's focus on people thinking about and being ready for work as really a requirement of adulthood, so to speak.
Yeah. So are there other boards throughout Ohio and other states also?
There are 20 workforce boards in Ohio.
Wow.
Different states have way fewer. Ohio has kind of more than like Texas, which only has 10, and Florida, which only has 12. It kind of just depends on how the government of a state operates and what its relationship is with the county and the urban cities that it's associated with. And in the case of Ohio, we have 88 one-stops, and we have 20 workforce boards. But about 15 years ago, our board in particular made a partnership with the public library system. So we have a 45,000 square foot center down at 1916 Central Parkway with 3 floors for people and the organizations that we partner with to help people to get to work and to complete their certifications and other aspects of the work experience. But we also have 40 library branches that we partner with the library to outreach to people who may not be able to get down to over the Rhine West End, but they can go to their Northwest Library and find out about what they can do to go online.
That makes it convenient.
It's very convenient. And now under Governor Kasich, he pretty much said all of the libraries and all of the one-stop centers should be interacting together on a routine basis so that we can be sure that people can get the services that they need without having to travel into downtowns across the state.
Yeah.
It's great. It's a great partnership. We do some really creative stuff with the library.
Well, yeah, I mean, most likely those are in, people's neighborhoods. So like you said, they can get to them. And lots of resources there in addition to, obviously there are computers
there are
there.
computer centers there, there are connections. The public library system for Hamilton County has a Penn Foster alternative diploma that a library card lets you go in and learn what you need to learn to be able to pass and get a Penn Foster degree. They also have a IT series of courses called Treehouse. That is very, very popular. A lot of people refresh their IT language competencies.
And that's totally changing all the time too.
It totally changes all the time. So if anybody thinks that they're going to learn the same thing and keep it for their whole 30 years of work, they're wrong.
Yeah, it changes pretty rapidly.
And then they have a program called lynda.com, which we had been using sporadically with some of our training providers. But now that the library has it and people can take their turn and not have to pay because the library has underwritten it, they can get customer service training, they can get foreign language training, it's just been a really good partnership. Notwithstanding all those things, it's just really good when people can walk down the street where they're going to the library anyway, or they're taking their young people to the library anyway, and not have to pack up, go downtown,
Yeah.
get caught, especially now. Until
Yeah.
I-71 and 75 are completely redone, it's always a chore to move up and down those two highways.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and not everyone has, transportation. I have to take,
to do it.
public transportation and everything and catch the right bus lines and so
And the
forth.
buses get caught in the same traffic the rest of us do. so-
Yeah, that's right. I see them, well, I'm stuck in the traffic also. Now, are there some specific arenas happening, things happening in the Sharonville area in this arena?
We've done quite a lot of work with Sharonville companies. I'm not at liberty to say all of them, but we're working with a particular grant that our workforce board brought to Hamilton County and the city of Cincinnati that involves building apprentices inside companies. So we have a few companies that are inside Sharonville
Okay.
and around the periphery of Sharonville who are looking at what's the instruction that I need to apprentice some younger people or some people who didn't have the skills, particularly related to machining,
Yeah.
so that they know they've got some folks who are preparing for the last edge of the onslaught of the baby boomers' departure
Yeah.
from the workforce
Somebody's
system.
got to be able to take over those type that, and
That
we're
skill set.
having troubles, I guess, in general in our economy with the trades, having enough people in general in the trades, right?
We took a posture 50 years ago that everybody go to college, and we altered a system that had worked pretty well before. It was not necessarily being respectful to all diverse populations, but it was respectful to people who wanted to go off to college, could go off in terms of academic competencies to do it, and those who wanted to get jobs that were jobs that they could do at their intellectual capacity at the time.
Yeah.
I went to Withrow High School. I graduated in '71. I was college bound, but I had to have what was then called work skills.
Yeah.
So I learned to type and do dictation, and I learned to do it on those great big huge old green machines. I was able, while I was at college, to type for people who didn't learn how to type, and it gave me resources to buy my books with and cover gas in my junker of a car that I went back and forth from Richmond, Indiana to Cincinnati for. There's now a growing sense of maybe we went a little too far with everybody goes to college. We have a paper on our website that's called Mind Shift, Word Shift, and there are two basic themes. Everybody goes to college when they're ready, when they have an idea what they're going to college for, when they can afford it without coming out, having to drop out,
Huge debts.
having $30,000 in debt from 1 or 2 years and not completing. That whole mind shift piece is about college. And then we have one that's word shifting. At that same time that we were advancing this philosophy of everybody goes to college, we were also trying to help people who needed additional resources that weren't available in their family or their neighborhood. And the good thing about that was that we invented some things. The not necessarily good thing is that the language stayed 50 years. And now we interviewed some young people about a really good program we have called Comprehensive Case Management Employment Program. It's shifting public resources into employment mindedness instead of being taken care of mindedness.
Yeah.
But the language for some young people is, this is the reaction of a young person who we spoke to, I'm not a mental case, I'm not a criminal case, I'm not a hard case, I'm not a case at all. I'm a human being that needs some help so that I've got a chance to progress in my life the way that others have had.
Yeah.
And it still gives me chills to think that a young person could articulate that.
Yeah.
So even though the state name of that program is CCMEP, we've renamed it Comprehensive Customer Progress Reporting Program. And we try to use it every time, but of course the legislation says it's CCMEP. But I'll give points to Governor DeWine and to Senator Portman and Representative Winstrup. They've met with us and talked about what are we going to do to help, particularly with such low unemployment, folks who maybe weren't as readily available for instruction and training. And we've talked to them about this, and they're looking at maybe we should, 50-year-old language at a program that started 50 years ago does not resonate with young people. It doesn't resonate with 20-year-olds or 30-year-olds either.
Right, totally different language now.
We're hoping to shift the language, and in the course of that, shift everybody's mind.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Are there certain in-demand occupations that are, more hot right now than others?
We operate on an in-demand priority, but our investments for helping people to get trained up with credentials are largely related to in-demand. And if you're talking in-demand in the Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana area, one may be on the top of the other, but the same 6 are there. Healthcare is one of the first. Information technology is second. Manufacturing, construction trades, transportation, distribution, and logistics. And I forgot the 6, sorry.
That's all right.
I'll think of
It'll
it
come to
sometime
you.
in the
Yeah,
course
that's
of
a lot to remember right there. And there's so much opportunity right there. We have more jobs than we have people right now.
We do.
And it just seems like these kind of programs that are helping to gear people, to be able to find. I don't know if it's that they don't know where to look for these positions, or it seems like there's some sort of
multifaceted.
Yeah, a lot of disconnect there.
There may be younger people who are not used to having parents who work. There may be parents who work, but they work a couple of jobs because they don't have a credential and they don't have really good family guidance or community guidance. We have a very robust infrastructure in Hamilton County, though. The Nehemiah Manufacturing Group formed a Beacon of Hope organization, which helps all employers to reconsider being more open to returning citizens. And then Nehemiah works with them as almost an entry-level manufacturing operation. And they have the chance to grow inside their company, or if they outgrow the Nehemiah operations, then they can be considered by other companies who are members of Beacon of Hope, who haven't before this necessarily considered returning citizens.
We just have like 1 minute left, but are there any new workforce challenges that are cutting-edge topics related to workforce development?
The biggest one is what's called 4.0 society. We're reaching the point where artificial intelligence and machinery are able to do things that have pretty much been what humans have done for the last 100 years in the manufacturing and related industries. We do a lot of work helping people who want to get transportation as their field to become truck drivers, either locally or on the road. And my messaging to them is, in the future, we already have cars that tell people that they need to pay attention to the road, and they got somebody too close here, too close there. Trucks are going to be in that same scenario, but they're going to be convoys of 10 to 12 trucks. There'll be a human at the front and a human at the back managing the artificial intelligence of the trucks that are in between.
Wow.
So we tell people every time they do anything, there's the doing of it now, and there's the anticipation of how will it change as artificial intelligence and new technologies alter and alter and alter.
Wow.
Which means we all must be continuously learning.
Yeah, absolutely. Great stuff. Sherry Kelley Marshall, President and CEO of the Southwest Region, Ohio Region Workforce Investment Board. Thank you so much for all this great information.
Thank you for letting us tell folks.
You've been watching Business Talk, brought to you by the Sharonville Chamber of Commerce. I'm Britt Scarce with Emory Federal Credit Union, your host. Until next time, we'll see you right here on Business Talk.